In the OKC Thunder's Game 5 victory, it really felt like a star was born, and his name is Jalen Williams, also known as J-Dub. Now, these past three games of the finals, he's done very, very well. Games 3 and 4, he went for over 20. This past game, a 40 piece. And this was, without a doubt, the biggest game of his life to this point. Because going into this game, it was tied up 2-2. The Thunder had just won the game before, which was also a make or break for them, but this time it was an even playing field, and they had their chance to set the tone for the series moving forward. Thunder win game 5, that means it's going to have a game 7, even if the Pacers win game 6, and with that, the Thunder had the advantage at home in a potential closeout game 7. So this one was really, real important for OKC to get. And the best player on the court last night for them was Jalen Dub Williams. And beyond simply the scoring, I liked a lot of what I saw from J-Dub in this game. Because with his reach, with his wingspan, he can be a very good defender as well. He's also a very solid playmaker for his spot, and he racked up 6 boards, so he's doing a little bit of everything for the Thunder, but especially scoring. And for OKC, they really, really needed it, especially in the fourth quarter of this game, or really in the second half. Indiana, they were trying to crawl back after a weak first half, in which they looked uncomfortable at every turn. But it felt like J-Dub just could not stop scoring, and with that, no matter what the Pacers would do, the Thunder always had an answer, whether it was Williams or whether it was elsewhere. So the Pacers were never really able to build any proper momentum. And that allowed the Thunder to keep the game in hand, and in large part, that is thanks to Jalen Williams. And for J-Dub, going into this game, going into the finals, really, he had been seen as someone. There had been allegations of him being a playoff dropper because of some prior performances. And we've seen that this postseason. There have been games where he has not been the most efficient player. There have been nights where he hasn't looked the most consistent. But he has been on a star-making stretch these past couple of nights. And that cannot be overlooked. Because it's one thing to falter, it's one thing to have a rough game in the early stages of the postseason. But come the NBA Finals, it's more important than ever that you are at the top of your game. Because if you're not, the opposing team, they're pretty likely going to be championship caliber. So with that, they're going to be able to make adjustments, make you uncomfortable, and do everything that they can to attack your weaknesses. So it's vital that you show up in the finals. You can have an up and down playoffs, but as long as you were there in the biggest stage, that's what people are going to remember. They remember the champions, they remember the winners, they remember those who showed up when their team needed it most, and that's precisely what Jalen Williams did. These past 3 games, he's gone for over 20 in every single one of them. This past one, of course, a 40 piece. And with that, as I was watching this game, I was wondering, is there a chance that Williams gets some votes for Finals MVP if the Thunder win? Now, he's not going to win that award. That's, of course, going to go to Shea. But I don't think it's crazy to think that he may get some votes. Just a couple for the Finals MVP award because he has been so, so impressive for the Thunder and so valuable for them, especially as a secondary option. Because he is more so an X factor for this team compared to Shea. That's not a knock on Shea. That is saying that Shea, he is very, very consistent. Gilgeous-Alexander, he's going to get his buckets. And you can count on that. But J-Dub, as we've seen in the playoffs so far, you don't always necessarily know that that's going to be the case. So when he does, that makes it all the more impactful because he really stepped up. And that's exactly what he's done in this final series. I've really loved what I've seen from J-Dub, and he is a star in every sense of the word. Because he is playing the best basketball of his career in a moment in which he needs to. And some guys, they can't rise to that challenge. They can succumb to that pressure, but not Williams. He has been so impressive, and this past game was the best night of his life. Never played a better ball game than this one, especially when you consider the circumstances. What a night it was for J-Dub. And for the Thunder as a whole, they did a lot right in this game. As I said earlier, talking about Jalen Williams in his second half, for just a moment, every time the Pacers would hit a few shots, the Thunder always responded. It felt like they could not miss at times, especially with J-Dub. And with that, the Pacers were never able to build any momentum, and that's what the Thunder really, really needed. You cannot let Indiana get hot, because if they do very, very well. In this series, they have, for the large part, dominated these fourth quarters, especially in those first few games. And so when you are able to counter that and not allow them to build upon that momentum and get something going, then that really, really helps your chances, especially going up against a fast-paced offense like the Pacers, because they live off of momentum. but the Thunder were able to stop them in their tracks, and you love to see that. That's what really helped them over the edge in this game. That first half, they played some smothering defense on Indiana, and they looked really, really uncomfortable. Tyrese Halliburton, he got injured, and that's really a shame to see as someone who's had a great postseason run. Now he's in the finals as the head of this team, and he's not going to be able to play at full health. That really is a shame to see. But Tyrese, he didn't look very comfortable in this game, even when he was on the court. And part of that is due to that injury, but part of it is also the Thunder continually put him in rough situations the entire time. SGA, of course, also went for 30. And Richard Jefferson, at one point in this game, he was talking about how in the 2016 NBA Finals, both Kyrie and LeBron had that game where they both went for over 40. And he compared the performances of J-Dub and Shea last night to that game. And while I don't know that it's necessarily of that same caliber, that is very, very good company to be in. A top two player in NBA history and one of the most talented, one of the most skilled players that the game has ever seen. To be put into that company by a man who played with Kyrie and LeBron, that's huge. That is huge praise. And that it was largely well deserved because these two put together a great performance. And for Shea, he's done it all year. He said it in a post game interview one time. His life is consistent. And that is so valuable, especially for a point guard in the modern NBA. Because this is obviously a position which is predicated upon a big volume of shots from beyond the arc. And also in being trusted as the offensive hub, whether that is scoring, whether it's playmaking for others. With that, it can be easy to fall into the trap of being inefficient or being inconsistent because you might be asked to do quite a bit. And also to extend your range. But for Shea, he is so consistent, and that is huge for his game. He's efficient, and he does it on a nightly basis. And that's really cool to see. Of course, there are the free throw merchant conversations, but ultimately that is kind of a skill that he has acquired. And there's no one better in the league at contorting their body and putting defenders in rough situations. And regardless of how you feel about it, when he goes to that line, those 2 points count the same as 2 points from a layup because they're going in that box score. And for Thunder as a whole, a huge win for them to take the advantage in this series. This is the first time that they've led in this series because the Pacers won game one, then they went up 2-1, and then the Thunder, with their backs against the wall, they tied it up, and now they have the lead for the first time. And that is so huge because now, even if Indiana wins game six and they extend the series to 7, game 7, that's going to be in Oklahoma City. And that's a loud atmosphere. That is a passionate atmosphere. They're going to do everything that they can to stop Indiana. So to have that community behind you, that's going to be huge for OKC. And on the other side, for the losing side here, the Pacers, it has been an incredible season for them. And even if they don't go on to win this championship, because now it's looking like the Thunder might have that in hand, it has been an incredible run for Indiana. One that is going to go down in the history books and in all of our memories. Because there have been memorable moments, there have been clutch shots, close games, and overall an elite offense, elite performances from guys that you might not even expect. Guys who are good, but Aaron Nesmith going 8 for 9 from beyond the arc and for 30 points in one game, a performance like that in the postseason, that's a moment you don't forget. And especially if, someone like him was able to get another one in the finals, that would be huge. Overall, it's been a very memorable run for Indiana, and now it's looking like they're on the outside looking in with this championship. However, I believe firmly that they will be back. Now, there's a lot of parity in the league today, and so that is a very loaded statement. But this is a team that has a lot of confidence in themselves, and they're going to have a chip on their shoulder if they don't win. I firmly believe that because this team has done so well with their backs against the wall, and nobody expected them to be in this moment in the finals. And they did that. And next year, I firmly believe that they're going to be very good once again. Maybe not in the exact same spot, but they're going to be a pretty similar caliber. I think they can come back even stronger because of that mental aspect to them. And it's a shame to see Tyrese go out. He's going to be playing, but he's going to be injured. And this team is quite young with Howley, with Andrew Nimhard, with Aaron Nesmith. We'll see how that goes. But overall, this might be the OKC Thunder's time. And if it is, we have a star that was born. If it isn't their time, we have a star that was born in Jalen Dub Williams. And he's not going to be the Finals MVP. But when we're talking about valuable players for the Thunder in this Finals run, this was a moment for J-Dub. And one that he will never forget. He showed up when the Thunder needed him most. What a night it was for Jalen Williams. a true star for the OKC Thunder, and that has been shown these past couple games on the biggest stage, the biggest moments of his career.